there was a monastery. At one time, this monastery had been thriving, but it had fallen into decay. Over the years, the monks seemed to have lost their fire for the Lord. They seemed to disengage from one another. And the monastery lost that vibrancy that kept it. They were headed by an abbot, an older gentleman, and he cared very, very much about this monastery. One day there was a visitor, and it was another monk. He was from an order that traveled, and he was widely known throughout the land. And he was known for his wisdom and his insight and his ability to see through everything and to have solutions to problems. He was just a remarkable man, and so many people loved him and admired him. Well, he stayed with the monks and he worked with them. He ate with them. He prayed with them. And he developed a very close friendship with the abbot. And one day the abbot confided in his friend, the traveling monk, that he was concerned for the order. It seemed like they were just a bunch of old men sitting around waiting to die. Well, this traveling monk confessed that he had noticed that and felt that too. And he said, let me think on this and pray on it and meditate. And so for a few days, that's what he did. He stayed in the silence. He thought. He took notes. And then he came back to the abbot. And the abbot said, have you come up with anything? Do you have a solution? And the old monk said, no. He said, I don't have an answer for what you are to do at all. But he said, what came through for me so loud and clear is that the next Messiah is in your group. Well, this just shocked the abbot. He's in our little group. Yes. The next Messiah. Yes. And so he called the 7 together and he reported to them what the traveling monk had told him, that within their midst was the next Christ, was the next Messiah. And they thought, well, that can't be. That's not true. You know, who could it possibly be among the 7 of us? Maybe it could be Brother William. No, but he's always late to Mass. Sometimes he doesn't complete all of his chores. And when he does, he's late. Maybe it's Brother Mark. But Brother Mark slurps his soup. Oh. And he's often messy and his robes are sometimes dirty. The Messiah wouldn't slurp his soup. Maybe it's our abbot. Oh, but he's so strict and stern and he's always harsh and gruff. A kind, loving Messiah couldn't be harsh like that. So who could it possibly be? Maybe he's wrong. But then they thought, but this wise man is so respected throughout all of the kingdom. Maybe the Messiah is amongst us. And they thought of William, and yeah, he's late to Mass, but his penitence is real. He is always helping others, the first to help others, and sometimes that explains why he's late. Or maybe it's Brother Mark. He slurps his soup, but he forgives easily. He's often messy, but he's also the best gardener we have, and oftentimes he's out in his robes working in the dirt. And he forgives all easily, and he loves everyone unconditional. Perhaps it is Brother Mark. And then that, well, maybe it's the abbot. Yeah, he's stern, but maybe sometimes we need that. And he's a great leader. And so the whole monastery started to believe that it's one of them. Now they don't know which one. So they all started to treat each other with love and respect, for he might be the next Messiah. And they treated each and every one as if he were the next Christ. Well, the people in the nearby village noticed a change in the monks that came to town for supplies. They had a happiness to their step that they hadn't had before. They seemed to be a lot more comfortable in their own skin. They seemed to be more in touch. And they seemed to love each other at a deeper and better way. And so out of curiosity, what could be going on out at the monastery, one day a man took his family out. And he and his family were greeted with love and warmth, and they were fed, and they were given an opportunity to talk, and the kids were given an opportunity to play in the nice parks and the grounds. And he had a wonderful experience, and he went back into town and he said, "Whoa, we got to check this out. There is some happening going on out at the monastery. You guys need to know about it." And so the next week there were 2 and 3 families, and the week after that there were more and there were more. And where a place that never had visitors now was visited every week. And then one day a young man came to the door and he said, "I don't know what you guys are doing here, but I want to be a part of it. Whatever this is, it's good, and I want to join." They hadn't had an initiate in decades. And not long after that, there was another young man, and another, and another, and another. And all of the monks continued to see the Messiah in one another. Well, welcome. Welcome to the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for those of you who are braving the single-digit temperatures out there to come and join us. Thank you for joining us online. Those of you who are under your covers or somehow warm, you don't have to clap to get warm. We will turn the heat up a notch, I promise. Yes, frugality is important, but we've gone a little too far. So thank you and welcome. Our theme for this month is back to basics. And last week I talked about God, Spirit, the thing itself, whatever name you choose to assign to that infinite presence. We described it and we used some big words. We used immanent and transcendent. And we came to the conclusion that this infinite creative force is all-powerful. It is all-knowing. And it's not only knowing of facts and figures and things, it's all wisdom wrapped into all-knowing. And it is ever-present. It is always with each and every one of us at all the time. And there was a real dichotomy in there because we recognize that Spirit is indeed greater than we are in every way, and yet that Spirit, that thing, whatever it is within each and every one of us. And it is for us. It is not here to judge us. It is not here to punish us. It's not here to play with us. It is here for us. It is for us. It is here to try to help us grow and expand in this thing we call life. The title of my talk today is The Voice Celestial. And my 3 points today are, we are one. Number 2 is, everyone is a potential Christ or Messiah. And number 3 is, we can always choose again. So, first point, we are one. We are one with God. This creative force is for our good. Our job is to prepare to receive that good. We know that Spirit is always for our good. Rather than place human imagined limits on that good, we accept with faith that there is a bigger idea in the I am, and prepare ourselves to receive that good in the best form for us. Additionally, we act and respond in kind from that place of love, a place of a greater idea. Ernest Holmes talked about love and law. He wrote, "The great love of the universe must be one, capital O, one with the great law of its own being, and we approach love through the law. This then is the teaching, love and law. As the love of God is perfect, so the law of God is also perfect." We must understand both. And what he is talking about is embodied in our teaching symbol, and we'll be talking more about that the rest of the month. But the basic concept is that everything is involved in this infinite force. God is everything, and this material world is the outpicturing of that. And everyone has this inherent God power within them. And that can be hard to believe because we look at ourselves as small and frail and fractured and hurt and wounded. But within each and every one of us is that God stuff. Ernest Holmes once again said, "We believe in the incarnation of the Spirit in man, and that all men are incarnations of the one Spirit." We are all made by that infinite creative force. And we are made out of that amazing infinite force. We are one with God, and we are one with one another. We've all been created by something and out of something. That something is God. Spirit, the thing itself, whatever you choose to call it. And we all have the potential Messiah within. Everyone is a potential Christ. Once again, I go back to Ernest Holmes. This is the new birth that comes through a new outlook on life, a new way of thinking, a new sense of our relationship to our environment, to the people around us, to ourselves, and to God. Yeah, this is from the essay that Camille talked about, getting along with people. That's 100 years ago. He's writing about our relationships to our environment, to the people around us, to ourselves, and our relationship to God. We are all brothers and sisters. We are all fellow travelers on this plane of existence. And so we are all one with one another. Point number 2, everyone is a potential Christ or a Messiah. When we see ourselves as Christ potential, we are being invited into a realm of consciousness that is open at the top and that it is infinite in its ability to express. This awareness moves us out of the traditional roles of hero, villain, victim, and into a world where we see each other as creators, collaborators, and coaches. We become spirit working with spirit, co-creating a world that works for everyone, exactly like our monks. This is exactly what happened to our monks. And the third point today, we can always choose again. In his essay, Getting Along with People, Holmes wrote that the well-adjusted person is one who has been permitted to be an individual, but who has also learned to cooperate with others. We are all different. No two of us are alike. And each one of us has within us something that is unique. And when we work together, we are stronger than working individually. We are greater than the sum of our parts. And it is this working together that allows us to do miraculous things. It allows us to see through the Webb telescope things that we could never see. We're able to see the beginning of the universe. We're looking at light that has traveled for billions of years to get here. And we did it by cooperating. Not one person did it all. One infinite creative force made it all, but no one individual made it all. And sometimes we have been coached or conditioned to stay away from that healthy outlook of cooperation. We've been told to think that other people are different from us or that we are better. And as I read this and thought about that, the image that came to me was this concept now of CRT, of critical race theory. We are never going to step beyond this until we admit that we as human beings have made errors and that we can change by changing our thinking. As I walked through Spain, I encountered many, many different people. I remember meeting Astrid from England, and we had a very deep conversation, and we talked about what it was like to live on the European continent with the Germans who performed these horrible atrocities during World War II. And her reply to me was deep, and she said, yes, Don, we know that this happened. We recognize this. But we didn't do this. Our ancestors did this, but we didn't. And we can see beyond that now. And that was ringing in my brain as I was walking down this long hill. I remember this so clearly because Ann was with another young lady getting her picture taken in front of these ruins. These were ancient Roman ruins. And Ann and the girl were taking their selfies in front of these ruins. And as I talked to this young German girl, I asked her about that. How is this? How do we coexist in this now with the atrocities that were done? And her answer rang so true because it was almost exactly the same words as Astrid. She said, yes, we recognize this. This happened. We know that it did, but we did not do that. Some of our ancestors did that. They were terrible. It's horrible. But we can do better. And we can learn from it, and we can go on. And it was so powerful to feel the emotion in her, a sadness, a regret, but at the same time, a powerful realization that we're better than what happened in the past. We talk about precedent has no control over the future. Holmes tells us that there is another way. Rather than dwelling in the past, we can again look to Spirit for the answer. This comes by applying a new thought. Today I am born anew. The principle knows nothing of the precedent. The principle knows nothing of the precedent. Today is a new day, and today I align myself with the highest idea of Spirit and vow to live from that. And each day I begin again. In so doing, I spiral upwards and begin to experience life as Spirit. I listen to the voice celestial. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about our philosophy and how we look at the world. The V in the teaching symbol doesn't stand for victory. It's not a V for victory. It describes the descent of idea into the creative medium and then into the tangible world. Seed, soil, plant, if you will. And that V is the ability to choose again. I thought I was planting tomatoes and instead I got potatoes. But I can plant again. I listen to the voice celestial. Conclusion. What I want you to take away today is that we are one with that infinite creative force. And that infinite creative force expresses through us. We are how this thing, God, moves on earth. It's not a being out there. It's within here. And we can choose again. So whatever you choose next today, whatever you choose today, after service today, begin by interacting with the Spirit that is within one another. See the crying baby and its parent in the grocery store as divine beings. Recognize the Spirit in the eyes of the homeless person on the street. We are all reflections of the divine. And so I salute Camille and her work these last few weeks with providing comfort to the homeless. You know, sheltering the homeless is not our mission. But seeing beyond the effect is. Seeing beyond the condition and seeing those people who are currently experiencing homelessness as individualized expressions of the one is our mission. And I urge you to step into that. And so it is from this place of awareness of our inherent divinity that I invite you all to join me in prayer and recognizing that there is indeed a power in the universe, a power that is greater than we are, a power that is for us. And the nature of this power is our nature. It is one of love. It is one of prosperity. It is one of health. It is our nature. And so as we go through this thing called life and we experience things like houselessness, things like disease, things like poverty, things like separation from one another and separation from God, we can look beyond the effects and go to the absolute truth, capital T truth, and that is the fact that we are all one. We are one with God and we are one with one another. And that Christ is indeed within somebody here, right here today, because it is in all of us. That infinite Messiah is who we are. So we just give thanks. We give thanks for this awareness of the power and the presence of God. And now we just sit back, we can let it go, we can let it be, and so it is. Amen. Namaste.